Welcome back to Hockey Talks. I'm Carl. It's Dave. We're going to go off the rails here a little bit from hockey. Well, kind of from hockey. Ovechkin stated in an article the other day that he enjoys a beer, a beverage.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't, right? That's what he said. Who doesn't enjoy a beer? He loves to have a beer. He says he likes to have a beer, 2 or 3, after the game, after he plays a NHL game.
They keep a cooler, he mentioned, in this coaching room.
In the
right?
coaching room, yeah. Apparently he said everybody probably does it. So he keeps a cooler full of beer, light beer, maybe sometimes Guinness, and he loves to have a few beers after a game. So helps him relax, calm down.
Is that something you would think that these like hardcore athletes would do?
You know, back in the day, they did that all the time, right? They drank, they smoked in their room, all that kind of stuff.
They smoked in their room?
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They would do all that. They'd be smoking in the room, on the bench.
Oh, geez.
All that kind of stuff back. Yep. And that was just a normal thing that they did. They'd have beers and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
After games, before games sometimes.
Well, I mean, what he mentions too, because you got to remember these guys, they travel a lot for work and they're always, playing in other cities and everything. And after a game of high intensity, what Ovechkin said in the interview there or whatever was that he uses it just to kind of calm his nerves a little bit, right? And everybody does. And I mean, there are some people who might not be able to handle it as well. So, they might enter some like hardcore anxiety or depression or something like that. But if you can control, I don't know, would you say that there's any issue with that? With a locker room full of guys partying after a game?
Well, I don't know if I'd say partying.
Well, no, not necessarily partying.
But having a couple of beers, sure, why not?
Yeah.
As long as you can stay in shape and stay physically active and be ready for that game you're playing, I don't have a problem with it. So there's no issue whatsoever if you want to have a beer or 2 or 3, as Ovi mentioned he did.
Yeah.
After a game.
Light beer. That's what he said, light beer.
Sometimes Guinness.
Sometimes Guinness.
It's a really heavy beer.
I think we all remember what the summer of Ovi was like, hey?
Wow, when he won the Stanley Cup? Yeah, you couldn't get him. You got him away.
That's all he had.
He partied harder than I think I've seen anybody ever party.
A definite memory.
Weeks and weeks. He just didn't stop.
Yeah. So here's a question for you then. Do you think that the same rules kind of apply for preseason or training camps? You think that because he did say in the interview what goes on, but I got a question. Do you think that he goes as hard or has a few beers every once in a while throughout that time?
Training camp? I don't know. As they're getting ready for the game, they have to make sure they're properly, I don't even know what I'm going to say here, but
just not sober. You have to make sure you're sober.
I guess sober, and you have to make sure your nutrition's there and everything. You're ready to fire on all cylinders in training camp, right? Because they still need to see if you're fit to play, right?
Yeah.
You got to be fit to play and make that roster. Although Ovi's not going to go anywhere, but it also sets an example to the other guys trying to make a roster, right? As I would say, if you're in training camp, you got to be a leader in that aspect. You see all these young guys coming up trying to fit in, right, and get on the team.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is them trailing off because one of the leaders does it.
Yeah,
it's
monkey see, monkey do.
After a game, okay, like you're already midway through the season and stuff like that, and you got your lineup set for the most part. Okay,
be a little comfortable,
fine. But I think training camp is taken a lot more serious these days. These guys train all summer long now, whereas they used to take the summer off, right, and get back when training camp started. But you see everybody going to camps and stuff all summer long, so they take that pretty serious, I think. But as for Ovi having a few beers after the game, I don't see any issue with it.
What he did say about the training camps, though, in preseason is, believe it or not, they actually lessen the amount they eat, and there's no he doesn't drink at all because he wants to limit the amount of weight gain, obviously, that he has, and get himself toned up for the following year.
Yeah.
So,
See that.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You got to make sure you're ready for the season, and if you're not, you're going to get bumped down or be cut. It's just one of those things, right? You got to be physically ready, mentally ready to go.
And being physically and mentally ready is a good thing to be in the 90s as well. So I got a little question for you, Carl.
Okay.
I have a question. Which team has the most wins in the 90s? All around. The most wins in the 90s. The top 3. Take a guess.
In the 90s? Yeah. In the 90s period?
Yeah. 1990 to 1999.
1990 to 99. I'm going to say New York Rangers.
Okay. And second?
Oh, I did a second. Okay. Let's go with the Dallas Stars.
Okay. And then a third? Just to really put the pressure on?
Well, see, the Montreal Canadiens won in 93. So that takes a lot of wins. But then they were kind of flat after that. Let's go Vancouver Canucks.
Okay. So number one is actually Detroit Red Wings with 431 wins.
I should have known that.
Number 2 was Pittsburgh Penguins, of course, with 406 wins.
Yeah.
And then number 3 is New Jersey Devils with 396.
Wow.
I'm sure Brodeur had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
So didn't quite get one of those, but
nope, I did not.
That's okay. It's a fun little trivia thing there I found on Reddit. So
yeah, my thought process was, well, I mean, the Dallas Stars won a cup in, I guess that was 2000.
Yeah.
that was just out of the range.
A year after.
New York Rangers, they had a really good cup run. They took out the Vancouver Canucks in 94. And they also made a couple other runs throughout those years.
But I think people forget how strong Detroit with Yzerman
was like a crazy good team.
Yeah.
Crazy good team.
What happened?
Fedorov and Yzerman, Datsuk.
Oh.
It's like they had
all those names.
Osgood and Net.
Yeah.
Wow. They had a fantastic team. I keep forgetting that. And of course the New Jersey Devils as well. Right? Yeah. Martin Brodeur was a main driving point in that.
Yeah, he still has records today.
Yeah, he sure does. Yeah,
I don't know if anybody in the league is close to breaking those, but I don't know. It's pretty
intense. A lot of records in that time, but yeah, I figure those 3 teams were
phenomenal.
A nightmare to play against. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's crazy how Pittsburgh Penguins still are maybe not a force to be reckoned with as much as they were, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah,
but they're still up there.
They're still there.
They made the playoffs. They're still getting wins.
They still think they can get there with that core.
Yeah, and they could. Who knows?
They got older last year. We'll see if they get any younger this year. But they're still sticking with
I think everybody gets older all the time, Carl.
Goal. Well, yes, technically, but
I know what you mean.
The team in general, average age, might come down. Maybe.
Yeah.
Not with the Penguins, though.
Maybe they got a couple of Benjamin Buttons.
They could.
That's kind of a requirement, I suppose.
But, yeah, it's... The Penguins, I think...
Need to get younger.
And in order for them to get anywhere, because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs again if they don't do that. But, enough about the Penguins. Yes, I didn't know about those 3. I thought it was something else, but great question.
Yeah.
That was a great question.
And it makes me wonder about what is that tournament coming up in February? The Four
Nations Cup. Yeah, Four Nations Cup. Like, speaking of that, the coaching staff for Canada just came down, and the coaching staff, I think, is just unbelievable. The amount of talent that they are bringing to this team. I know there's a lot of other talents in the other 4 nations that are coming up, right? But you look at this talent that the coaching staff that they're put together. You've got John Cooper as head coach.
Who plays for the Tampa Bay Lightning?
The head coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? He's a phenomenal coach. He's won, 3 Stanley Cups in the last 4 or 5 years.
Didn't win the last one.
No. But then you have Rick Tocchet joining him. Peter DeBoer.
That's a
Misha
fun name.
Donskov. Which he's an assistant coach. He was an assistant coach for the last few years for Vegas.
Oh, okay. Knights. Wow. Okay.
And Bruce Cassidy, which we all know Bruce Cassidy. He was Boston Bruins for a long time and the Vegas Golden Knights. So all these guys have amazing talent and they've had lots of success in their career. And put all these guys together, we'll see how they build together. I mean, a couple of guys played together, or coached together, like Bruce Cassidy and Misha Donskov. Peter DeBoer and Misha Donskov, who played together. He was an assistant coach to Peter DeBoer while he was in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
So these guys have some tie-ins with each other, but just wanted to point out the coaching staff that they put together and announced today that is one of the top coaching staffs I've seen
And this
in a while.
This Four Nations Cup, remind me, it's is it like an annual tournament that goes on, or?
I think I don't think they've done it in a few years.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I think they're trying to
Canada, U.S., Finland, and Sweden?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those Four Nations battling it out in February. That's when that all gets going.
Wow.
But getting everything in place, and the coaching staffs and finding out all the players and teams are still underway. That still has to be finalized. But we'll bring you some updates when we get to it, and when everything comes out and finalized when we get closer to that date. But before that, we have all the preseason and the regular season to look forward to before all that.
5 days ago, it was 69 days until the first game.
5 days ago.
Yes.
So how many days now?
69 minus 5.
There we go. That was your answer. 60 days minus 5.
69
days minus 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Anyways, season's coming up quick. The preseason's coming up sooner than that. So to get us ready for the preseason, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite thing to talk about, the reffing.
Yes.
In that league called the NHL.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, there's quite a bit of things to talk about when it comes to reffing. But I think one of the things a lot of people agree with when they're watching their teams play is more consistent reffing would be good. I mean, sometimes they'll call one and then, realize that they're missing, a lot of other stuff. So they'll call it on the other team to make it more even. And it's just very interesting position to be in, especially when you have little things like delay of game penalties. So let's say it's a playoff game in like a game 7.
What do you think about that delay of game penalty, or the puck over the glass?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I think it's a black or white.
Do you think it's a good thing to have in here?
No.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of people.
If it's intentional, but it's like it's weird because it's like if it's intentional. But here's where I'm getting with it: is you have a game that you're not calling much things on because it's a playoff game 7, and there's hooks, and there's hits, and there's holdings and all that stuff that you're just letting play out. Those are all gray. Those are all gray penalties. What that means is you can kind of fudge it a little bit.
Yep.
But a delay of game is a black and white penalty.
Yeah.
Why can you have one hit that's a really, really bad hit, a legal hit that should be called, but then the other team, gets it out and then they get an immediate penalty? It just, to me, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Because it kind of throws the whole game off. And that's where the inconsistent reffing kind of comes in.
Yeah. Which is not really the ref's fault because they have to look forward for it, right?
Yeah.
And
it's not something that you can't not call it. You can't
not call it. You have to call it.
That's the ridiculous thing. You have to.
You have to call it. Yeah. I mean, it goes out. You have to. Whistle stops anyways, right?
But imagine if a hit or a hooking was a black and white call, where it's either a penalty or not a penalty. Then it would be fair. Then it would be cool.
Yeah.
But it's not a black and white penalty. So now the refs they have these black and white penalties that they have to follow.
Yeah.
And then they have these gray penalties where they want to keep everything level. But now if a delay a game penalty goes and leads to a goal or something like that, and that's not even including the offside recall that they started doing now. And
that's a mess. I mean, they go by millimeters.
Yeah.
Millimeters. They see it and they review
an entire play
review it, and the entire play. You don't actually get a goal after like 10 minutes of being in that. Okay, not 10 minutes of being in that zone.
No, but I get what you're saying.
A long period of time being in that zone, and then they score, and then all of a sudden, we're going to go back to video review because
that was 3 minutes ago.
Because somebody thought maybe. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they didn't see it. But I mean, like after that amount of time, you shouldn't be able to go back and look at some video and say, "Oh yeah, no,
there were 2 millimeters."
The stuff that happened like 5 minutes ago,
yeah,
and before that goal, erase all that. Let's take it back outside the line because it looks like on this video, it might be. It looks very close.
Yeah, it's almost like if an offside is, I don't know the answers, but like if an offside is like 10 seconds or longer, you can't really count it or whatever. It's like, I don't know. I get it, but I think people have to admit that you can't make offside a black and white call. Just like the delay of game, an offside is something at the ref's discretion because that's fair. Then that's the fair, just like it's the ref's discretion to call a hit. Just like it's the ref's duty to call anything else that happens on the ice.
No, video review takes the ref pretty much out of the game.
And that's
it
where
doesn't matter what call he makes. If somebody wants to review the video, they can override the ref, right? And the referees are there. Sometimes they miss stuff. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Move on. Because if the ref didn't see it, chances are most of you didn't see it.
Yeah.
Right? They miss some obvious stuff sometimes, but that's part of the game.
Yeah.
It always has been. And we go down to the video review and we look at it to the finest detail, which some stuff, okay, fine. Like some big hits to see if they're intentional, malicious, anything like that. Okay, we can see that.
But even then, though, that's still not black and white.
But trying to get
you know what I mean?
Benefit of the doubt a little bit.
But you gotta admit if you're a star player and you do something bad, you're not gonna get as much discipline if you're a grinder.
Well, yeah,
you know, it's just not how it works. So. It's all these grays mixed with black and whites. And that's where I see the NHL going with their reffing, is they're becoming more and more reliant on video review and technology. And down the road, it'll finally get to a point where they don't even have refs. They just have an AI looking at the videos or something like that and calling the game that way.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to see how that even, if that is where it goes, how that does. But I mean, at that point in time, it'll just be a bunch of robots playing the game anyways.
Yeah, they're taking the fun out of the game. They're taking the excitement.
Seems like it.
Everything like that out of the game. Like just let the refs do their job is what I think, and limit that video review. Scale it back a bit. We don't need all that stuff. I don't think it just takes the natural play out of it, right? And we just look at too much video to decide everything, right? And it's delaying everything. And just the whole flow of the game changes, right? Mm-hmm. So I hope they figure it out, and maybe some stuff they can keep it in for, but yeah, let's just ease up on that video review a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. One thing I want to get to here before we close out is Eric Staal. He's officially retiring after 18 years. He's signing a one-day contract with the Carolina Hurricanes, where he all started back when the franchise, I think a few years after the franchise started. He played most of his career there. He was a captain for 7 years, won a Stanley Cup with them back in 06. And he played a few other teams in the last few years, but officially retiring as a Carolina Hurricane on a one-day contract next year. He will also have his jersey retired and put up into the rafters. So he found out after that.
And just when I thought Eric Staal, so many good memories of him playing the game. I always enjoyed watching him play. Yeah. But I always got to say, I think the jersey played a little better.
The jersey, yeah. The jersey played better. Yeah, okay.
Well, that's what they're retiring.
Oh, yeah. No, it's more about the jersey going up there.
I'm just kidding.
Ripped it off his back. This is what we really wanted. Nah, he played a heck of a career. He scored a lot of goals.
He's always been a fun player to watch. Yeah. There's a few of those Staal brothers that are in the league. And yeah, it was good. It's hard to believe it's been 18 years already, though.
I know, 18 years already. He had a great career. Won a Stanley Cup. That's the ultimate goal. Played for a few other teams. Just had tremendous success throughout the league. And yeah, he played along with the head coach, actually, of Carolina right now, Rod Redmore. Yeah. He was playing with him at that time when they won the Stanley Cup. So he got the captaincy over him.
Wow.
They was in between those two, and they picked Eric Staal over Rod Redmore, which is now the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes. But congratulations to him. Well deserved.
Now stop stalling and put him in the Hall of Fame. Get it?
See how long it takes? Yeah. Little joke here for you. But yeah, no, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. I think he does. He played a well-rounded career, right? Captained the Carolina Hurricanes to the Cup. I mean, yeah, he's done it all, especially, and also he's also won a couple of gold medals in the Olympics as well. So well-rounded career. Congratulations, Eric Staal. Well deserved. But thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for today. I appreciate all of you out there, and we'll all see you next time.
Toodaloo.